Welcome to study number 19 in our Search the Scriptures study of the book of Hebrews. I'm a day late getting this out. I apologize for that. I was on vacation, had to pack things up from the fair, all sorts of things going on, so I'm late getting this out. Really apologize for that. So I'll have this one done, and a few seconds later download the other one onto YouTube for everybody. We're almost done with the book of Hebrews. We're on the last chapter, chapter number 13, and this study covers the first 8 verses, and we're going to try to answer 3 questions from Hebrews chapter 13 today. The first set of questions, number 1, list in detail the various aspects of Christian duty which are enjoined or implied here, and examine your own life and circumstances in order to discover ways in which your practical obedience is demanded. And then from verses 5, 6, and 8, what makes the Christian adequate to face every possible circumstance, and why is there for them, the Christian, nothing to fear, and no one who can harm them. And then what use can they make of the Old Testament scriptures for their encouragement? In verse 7, in what way should Christian leaders whose life on earth has ended, how should they be remembered? Let's look at Hebrews chapter 13, first 8 verses together. This is from the NIV version of the Bible. Keep on loving each other as brothers. Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing some people have entertained angels without knowing it. Remember those in prison as if you were their fellow prisoners, and those who are mistreated as if you yourselves were suffering. Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Keep your lives free from the love of money, and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, and never will I forsake you. So we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper, and I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? And remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you, and consider the outcome of their way of life, and imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, and today, and forever. So let's look at that first set of questions. List in detail the various aspects of Christian duty which are enjoined or implied here, and examine your own life and circumstances in order to discover ways in which your practical obedience is demanded. Well, as Christians, we have a duty to our fellow man. We have a duty to be hospitable to strangers. We have a duty to properly treat those that are in prison. And we have a duty to make sure that justice is served. There needs to be justice for those who cannot demand justice for themselves. The church has a responsibility to upholding the laws of the land, and also making sure that justice is provided for everyone. Let's look then at the second group of questions, verses 5, 6, and 8. What makes the Christian adequate to face everything that comes their way, and why is there nothing that we need to fear, and no one that can really harm us? And what use can Christians make of the Old Testament scriptures for their encouragement? Well, the knowledge that God is always with us really is all that we need to get us through even the most difficult of circumstances. He will never leave us, never forsake us, it says in verse 5. Likewise, if God is for us, who can be against us? Like Paul said in Romans, what can separate us from the love of God? Bottom line, nothing. We need only to consider also this great cloud of witnesses in regards to the Old Testament scriptures, in regards to what's listed in Hebrews chapter 11. All these people that have gone before us to show the way. And we can rest assured, based on their example, that God will see us through as well, because He's the same yesterday, today, and forever. Final question from Hebrews 13, 1 through 8. From verse 7, in what way should Christian leaders whose life on earth has ended, how should they be remembered? Well, we need to imitate those leaders. The best way we could remember them is by imitating those leaders that imitated Christ. And we as leaders need to be able to say with the same boldness as the Apostle Paul once said, imitate me, do as I do. Look what I do, and use me as an example. Now, could you say that about yourself? For people to look at you and use you as an example? I mean, we should all strive for that. You know, whenever I have an area in my life that I cannot boldly say to the people in my congregation, imitate me, then I know, hey, there is an area right there of my life that I need to submit to the authority of Christ. And maybe that I need to imitate others around me to the best of my ability. So I just say the greatest honor that we could have to those great leaders that have gone before us is to do what they did. Follow their example. Be just like them. Hope you're having a great day. Very next study is the very last few verses of this fantastic book of Hebrews. I hope it's been a blessing to you. God bless.